Welcome to this episode of Mercy Can't Stop Her. I am your host, Judith Kambia Obatusa, JKO. We've been talking about faith and how you can thrive through chaos when you activate your shield of faith. And we've been talking to women like you and I who activated their shield of faith, and it's helping them. It helped them come through chaos. We've also talked to people who help people heal their heart, and they say the impact of faith. So we had Lexi Lane and we had Debra Wright. On today's episode, I'm the third facilitator in the Healing the Heart retreat. And I'm a podcast host. But on today's episode, I'm handing the keys over to my friend, my sister from another mother, Debra. She will be interviewing me for this episode of Mercy Can't Stop Her. Debra, take it away.
Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl, Debra Wright, and I am so honored to take over the seat from Judith today because I just want to ask her some questions. She's such a beautiful lady. I had the opportunity to meet her when I was out in Vancouver. Yes, we shared my hotel room for a night, and it was fun because we got to chat. And I realized that we are kindred spirits. As a matter of fact, somebody thought she was my sister because she looks like me, which is, we're from two different continents. She's from the continent of Africa, and I'm from the Caribbean, so the Americas. But anyways, today, Judith, it was such a pleasure meeting you. And I know you've already introduced yourself, but can you tell us about you in context of some of the work that you do as a clarity coach? Not the podcaster part, but because we already know that one, but talk to us about the clarity coach lady. Let's talk about that.
Thank you so much, Debra. So clarity is something that I didn't have for most of my life. And when I was going to turn 50, I began to see that I just couldn't continue living life the way I've been struggling to live it. The truth is that chaos has been part of my life for a long time. And if I was going to live the life that I've been given, I could not frame my life's decisions and actions around the situations I found myself in. And those situations, I could say, were not really things that I knew I could change at the time. So I decided to live the life that I had been given. And I decided to live this life happy with who I was, loving who I was. And as I made that decision, they say when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. Teachers began to show up through people. A particular program came on my news feed on Facebook, a name for somebody I'd never met before. Apart from that, I began to think inside myself, there's more to me, God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe he died for me. And I believe that God loves me. And his love was too much for me to be living this life in so much pain. At that time, my marriage was like terrible. And I kept hearing, all the years I've heard, God hates divorce. Until one day, the Holy Spirit told me, God hates divorce, but he loves you more than he hates divorce. And that point, I knew that freedom was here. And it wasn't about marriage anymore. It was about me. It was about me deciding to leave. And I separated from my spouse. I went with my kids, and that's another whole traumatic. At least one of my kids was determined to make sure I was in hell, and she gave it to me. But during that time, that's why I can talk about thriving through chaos. And that's why I can talk about the importance of clarity. I was getting clarity. I learned to listen to my heart. And I understood the importance of peace to clarity. Without peace inside you, you cannot hear the directions for your life. You continue to make mistakes. Listening to your father, your mother, the books, the people, the friends, the so-called experts. The expert of your life is not the expert that you read about. It's the one who created you.
Right.
And if he wants to talk to you, he wants to give you direction. That's why people know this. I always say, listen to your heart, because your heart is your God-given GPS to guide you on the journey of your life. And that's what took me into this coaching. I want to see other women get the clarity, the freedom that God gave me when I learned to listen.
I really love that, Judith. That's, oh man, I love that acronym that you use, the GPS. Can you just talk just a little bit about your GPS? Like, how did learning that process of having that GPS help you to where you are today? Talk to us about that woman.
In the previous episode of Mercy Can't Stop Her, Debra said something about the first step is to decide. The first step to moving forward is to make a decision. When I decided that this cannot be my life, and I was turning 50 and I could not go into my 50s scattered and just allowing things to happen to me. No, things happening for me.
Yeah.
They're not happening to me. I get to be here. I get to live this life. I get to serve my children, get to serve you, the one listening to me. It is a privilege. I won't take it for granted anymore. I won't mourn and groan. It was my decision that started me to getting my own GPS.
I love that.
So I decided, and we're talking about faith. You see, faith is God's gift to us. Truly, it is God's gift to us. When I made the decision, I decided to let go of me taking charge of my life, because I've been trying to take charge of the life, and I'm almost 50. I'm just a few months to 50, and the life is still not. So now, God, I'm going to let you do it, Lord. Wherever you take me to, I will go. And for me to know where God was taking me to, I had to learn to be calm. So I started to meditate. Oh, I didn't, that one too was a resource that God gave me. I thought that meditation was cultic.
Yes.
Even though the Bible records that in the book of Genesis, God meditated. When he said God brooded over the face of the earth, he was meditating. And out of his meditation came his first words, let there be light.
I love that.
So somebody now offered, someone I met in that program that God brought on my radar through Facebook, offered to do a session on meditation. And I took it because I had something to give. I knew there were things I needed to do. I couldn't just say, God should come and do it. See, God has given us power to change our situation, if only we will take that power with his help. So the person basically taught us, the first thing she was talking about, breathing. Read the book about the body keeps the score. So the guy was also talking about what the lady was telling us. When I learned to do my breath work, to meditate, then my monkey brain, before that time, my mind was always in constant thinking of all kinds of stuff. My mind stopped that monkey brain. I got control. And when that happened, I started to get peace.
Right.
Because instead of meditating on everything that wasn't working, I was meditating on who God says I am, what God says about me, what God says about my situation, what He has promised me about the life that He has given me. He became the one that I listened to. And the more I did that, the more I got peace. And today, I could be sitting in a turmoil and I'll still have peace because God is with me and He has taught me. So my GPS is now working.
Amen.
Before it wasn't working.
I'm just sitting down here and just listening to you, and I already feel that peace because I understand living in chaos. I do too understand living in chaos, but it's finding that GPS and knowing where you are and where you're going. It really, really helps. So, Judith, we met through my son-in-law, right? And we connected, we clicked. And when I decided to do this retreat, two people came to my heart. And that was my good friend, Dr. Lexi Lane, who was one in my cohort, as we became coaches, and then you. And so, yeah, then you are on this retreat. You're going to be one of the facilitators on this retreat that's coming up in May 13th to the 17th. And you mentioned something just now. You talked about breath work. Can you okay, first, are you going to be teaching our women how to breathe, how to learn to let go through the power of your breathing? Is that something you're going to be teaching on the retreat? Just a little hint.
I have to. It has to be. It has to be. It changed my life. It changed my life. And kudos to Debra Wright, who offered to teach those of us who our monkey brain was fully activated and it was going crazy. He just felt it by her interaction with us. These are women I have never met in person.
Right.
And that I will be teaching that. I will be sharing my experience. I'll be providing resources and I'll be connecting you to the people, to the one who God used to teach me. You see, the thing I said is when the student is ready, teachers will come.
Yes.
Your teacher will come. The particular need you have to be taught will come. The teacher will come. That's what has happened to me. Even my meeting Debra, as I began to listen to my heart, it was impressed upon me that I had to start a podcast. It gave me a platform to tell people my story, to bring resources to people just the way God brought to me. And her son-in-law heard an episode of my podcast. And I asked him, how did you get? He said he just came up on his feet. You see, God is working things out for us, whether we know it or not.
Yes.
Do you think that the things that come up on your feed, you say is the algorithm? I'm not sure about the algorithm, because I never wrote inside Facebook that I needed to change my life, but God brought the change to me. Yeah. And this thing came up on his feed, and he's like, you and my mother-in-law, you look alike. You need to meet each other. You have the same values. I've never met Debra. And this wonderful man, this young man who God has brought into both our lives for good, connected us. And when we saw each other, we looked alike. Yeah. Not only did we look alike, we believed alike.
Yes.
What? I mean, they say you have a twin. I've met my twin.
Yes, I have. I have definitely met my twin. Judith is such a joy to be around. I'm really, really looking forward to us being able to spend time together. You, Lexi, myself, and all those beautiful women that God has ordained to come to this retreat in Tobago. And Judith, if you are speaking to that woman out there that is needing this retreat, what would you say to her to get her to be on board? Talk to us about that.
Okay. The thing about my life is that when I started my podcast, I'm not looking for celebrities. I'm looking for women like you and I. Because in our lives, our stories, our experiences that need to be celebrated. We don't need to model our lives after people that we see in the news. Most of what we see are not even true. We need to model our lives after those who have actually gone through things that are similar to what we are experiencing. So this retreat is an opportunity for you to meet kindred souls. I can't tell you how empowering it is. I can't talk enough about how empowering it is when you meet people who have had similar experiences.
Yeah.
How liberating it is to know that you are not a weird person. That's why you're going through this. It's because I'm not good. It's because I'm not enough. To find out that, look, you're not alone. Just the knowledge of not being alone is so liberating. Just the knowledge that there is a place where you belong is so empowering.
Yes.
That you might actually have been chasing the wrong relationships. And when I talk about relationship, I'm not talking about marriage, even friendships. So many of us have been hurt by friends, hurt by church. We go to church, we put our best there, we are hurt. We go into a relationship with a man and we are hurt. We go into a relationship with a woman, we're hurt. We go to work and we put our hearts, we are hurt. We are nice to our neighbor, they hurt us. We love our children, they hurt us. Relatives hurt us. So the knowledge that we have all been hurt in different ways. We have even hurt ourselves by making decisions and not being able to keep it. And we're tormented by these hurts. And we're living life with torment. This retreat is a place to come. Lay that down. Look, I'm a Christian, so I know we're not laying that down at the feet of Debra, Judith, and Lexi.
Right.
We're laying it down at the foot of Jesus.
That's right.
Can you imagine leaving all this turmoil that's going on in your life and taking a few days to be in a place where you are surrounded by love? You're enveloped by love. You are enveloped by God's love. Just by looking at the environment where you are, you see the tangible expression of his love for you in the water, in the flora, in the fauna, in the people, in the food. Then to be in a place surrounded by the love of three of us that have brought ourselves to serve you. And all the other people that will be supporting us, because three of us can't do it all. We have people that will be supporting us there. To be surrounded by that love. Why am I saying surrounded? Immersed in that love. Then the love of people like you who now see you and say, oh, not alone. She also has my experience.
Yes.
And then you share it with them and you say, goodness, I used to think I was the only one who felt this way. I used to think I was the only one who experienced this. Can you imagine? Then to now receive resources, hardcover, you want to say, hardware for your use when you leave. Then software that's going into your heart and making a change.
Yes.
If I had this opportunity, if I didn't have to learn the hard way and at 50 begin to find my path, I will take it. And another thing is, why is it important to be at this retreat for you, my sister that's listening to me? I know some of us will say our children, our whatever responsibility. Do you know that you are really not showing up at your best when you are still going through life with turmoil, without peace, without a direction? We're just doing what they expect of us. I'm a Nigerian Canadian. So the first 40 years of my life, 41 years of my life, I was in Nigeria before I moved to Canada. And in our culture, you go to school, you get married, you have children. We never questioned anything.
Yeah.
And when you get married, even if you are being beaten black and blue, you are abused every day. Maybe you're not being beaten, but you don't have rights. You're nobody. All you are is what your husband lets you be. And your family says, it's okay. You have to cope. So I'm feeling depressed. What do you mean by depression? There's no such thing. Look, get strong. If you came from a culture like that, you can imagine. But can you imagine being in that culture and knowing what I know now, what Debra knows now, what Lexi knows now? You will still be in that culture, but you will thrive.
Yes.
And you will be the best mother ever. My daughter died last year, and I look back at her life and my role as her mother, and I saw that she had a woman who was broken as a mother for most of her life. By the time I found my direction close to 50, my daughter's life was already messed, in turmoil. And no matter how much I tried to help, with the knowledge I now had, I could not help. Even though I was broken those years, I was still there for her, but I didn't have enough tools to help her because I didn't know those tools. This is why it's important for us to take time away from life to get the tools we need to be the best mother, the best sister, the best employee. I want to talk about work. I went to work when I got my first great job in Canada. I had challenges. And they were not perfect, but because of my own issues that I was dealing with, I didn't have enough, I wasn't well equipped to navigate that terrain with wisdom. I'm still in that job, but I'm now better equipped. I now come to the work to be my best, to give my best, to be myself.
Yes.
Instead of trying to fit in, could not fit in. But by deciding now, because I now know who I am, to be who I am, I'm now happier at work. It's so important for you to take time off. So I'm hoping that we're going to see you, that you take time off. Okay, another thought. Oh my goodness, money. I don't have the money to do it. My sister. Even if you have to take up an offering, do you know up to 10 people? If 10 people can give you $40, $50, add it together, it will be enough.
It will be enough.
You have to make a decision to invest in yourself. Make a decision because you are worth it. And the life you have now is nothing compared to the life you are going to have because you invested in yourself. It changed my life. I paid over $3,000 for that thing that came across my feed that I did not plan to receive. The program that came across, I was sitting by myself. Nigerians would say, jejeli, jeje. I said, no, now anything can come. I've just spoken with Pidgin for you. Yes, I ended up with almost $4,000 that I had to pay over a period. And that's one of the things we're giving you in the retreat. You can go and sign up immediately and then spread your payments so that by the time where it's time to go, you are done. But you have to make the decision that you deserve this time in beautiful Tobago Island. You deserve
Judith?
it. You are worth it. You deserve it.
Yes. You make me want to come, even though I'm going to be there. You are making me want to come on this retreat. Thank you for, sharing your heart because people need to see who we are honestly. We're not frou-frou women. We are down-to-earth women, but we love. And when we love with everything that we have. And so we are just really, really grateful that you will be joining us in Tobago on this retreat because you need to be free of the pain that you're holding on to. So I am really grateful today, Judith, for taking over your chair and interviewing you. And I know that, what you have said will touch a lot of hearts because you're speaking from your heart, you're speaking from your experience. And that's the thing about being authentic, being real, so that people, my coach, Dr. Johnson, he says, your story is worth millions. But a lot of people don't know that because your story that you're sharing is something that you've walked through. And now, because of your story, you can help others. So I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be the host on your podcast. I truly appreciate this. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, Deborah. So good, so good, so good. To all my sisters listening, I hope my story resonated with you and sparks the recognition that you too are deserving of healing and clarity. As we conclude today, I want to leave you with this. Your life is a precious gift, and you have the power to transform it. Take the time to invest in yourself. Embrace the support of women like you, kindred spirits, and allow the healing power of faith guide you. The retreat in the beautiful twin island of Tobago is not just an opportunity for a getaway. It is a chance for transformation, connection, and empowerment. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. So surround yourself with love and embrace the tools available to you. When you do this, mercy won't stop you. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.